What's up, everybody? Well, I'm back here today to give you another vacuum comparison. This time it is between these two Hoover Windtunnel canisters. Right over there is a Hoover Windtunnel Plus canister, model S3639. And over there is a Hoover Windtunnel Anniversary Edition canister, model S3755. I believe I'm saying that model correctly. But anyway, after I bought this OG Windtunnel canister, I wanted to buy the Anniversary because I know they have very different motor units. I mean, for the most part, the power brushes are pretty much exactly the same. There's just a little bit of a wiring difference, and I'll show you that later in the video. But there are a lot of differences between these two, besides just similar power brushes. Is that these older Windtunnel canisters, especially this old style motor unit, is actually US made. These newer ones are made in China. So I basically look at this one as if it's a Chinese Miele with a Windtunnel power brush. So quite interesting in its design. The motor unit, very much you could squint and look at it as if there were a Miele motor unit running a Hoover Windtunnel power brush. But as I was saying, these older motor units for the Windtunnels have been around since the Hoover Spectrum, if anyone remembers that canister. That was basically had the same motor unit, but a totally different power brush. It used the Quadriflex style power brush that was also used on the Dimension 1000 and I want to say the Hoover Spirit, but I'm not entirely sure about that. I'm not too fully knowledgeable with these canisters. But anyway, I do think these are really excellent built canisters. And also another thing to note on this is that the Windtunnel canisters were actually one of the ones that have a 12 amp motor. The other ones, I think the Futuras and the Power Maxes were 9.3 amps. Well, one was 9.6, and I think the Spectrums were about 10.5, so there were a lot of motors available for these. But the 12 amp was the most powerful for these motor units of Hoover canisters. And most of that was to run this big, large 15-inch cleaning width power brush, which basically is made almost like any other Hoover canister power brush at the time. They just chopped off the bottom end of a Windtunnel and just made it into a power brush. It uses the same style power brush motor as the Futuras and the Power Maxes did, only that one uses the Elite style brush roll. This one uses its own unique brush roll design. You see, this one has the original neon green bristle brush roll. It's got the very stiff bristles. They really dig into the carpet nice and well. He does have a little bit of an exposed cord along the back. Not a huge deal. Here, these front wheels spin very nice. Here are the big rear wheels in the back. You do have your nice little side edge cleaning brushes. The hose material is alright. This thing does have a tendency to kink up pretty easily, especially towards the top here. This section is very kinked up, especially where it sits most of the time when it's in its upright position. Whereas this newer S3755 model actually uses a crush-proof hose, and so it doesn't have that kinking problem up top like the older ones do. Oh, here's another thing. It comes with the brush roll on-off switch right up at the top of the wand. The new one has that as well. Doesn't feel like as well built as the old one. As you can see, the wands on these older ones have little locking tabs. Where these you just press in and it locks. This one does have an extendable wand. That's one thing tonight. The older ones were just fixed wands that you stack on top of each other, and that's basically how you get it to whatever fixed height it's left you at. And one thing I do like about the newer one compared is that this bottom button actually is how it released from the floor, so you can still have your big wand, whereas you have to remove a little tab up front on the old style, which is not a major deal, but is definitely a nice more convenience on these newer ones. And just to show you, the brush roll is the same design as the other one, only this one has white bristles because they probably ran out of money when they moved to the TTI manufacturing, so they couldn't develop green bristles, or actually it probably wouldn't have worked with this theme, so they just used white bristles. Same chevron design as the other one, very stiff bristles. And right here is the US patents for the power brush. So, not entirely too much is Chinese about this, except for the motor unit, which I will go ahead and release the hoses off these guys. That one's gonna drop to the floor. And we'll go ahead and put the motor units side by side. This one you got to release the hose and then pull this little wire right here. Release the hose out. And here are the motor units side by side. As you can see, the motor unit on the Anniversary is a little bit more like a Miele style. Easy way to tell is it's got casters both front and rear, which this is something you'd only see on Miele vacuums. So this thing is very nice and maneuverable. The back end can definitely move side to side, unlike this one, which has the fixed rear wheels in the back. And only you have your single front caster wheel right here, so it doesn't spin as freely. Your attachments are right up front here. This one I do believe had a little brush attachment to go on top here, but it went missing. Here are the attachments for the old style Windtunnel. As you can see up top there is your pet hair turbo tool that even these Anniversary ones don't come with. But this one has your traditional upholstery tool. I like these little rubber teeth on the back of these Canister upholstery tools compared to the uprights, which for some reason don't have that. Because somehow Hoover wanted to put that on the Canister models versus the uprights. But anyway, you have that, your dusting brush, and your crevice tool. A lot different in design compared to the Anniversary. Also, Hoover gives you this bare floor tool, which you can attach in place of your power brush, and you could better use this on bare floors. Whereas the Anniversary, all you're left with is just the suction of the power brush, with obviously no brush roll, of course. Another nice thing about the newer wind tunnels is, let me just show you the bag compartment here. This one actually flips upwards. The old style flips forward, Corvette style. But anyway, we both take Type S bags. These are both running HEPA bags just for the increased filtration. But the old style Hoover wind tunnel canister motor unit only uses just a single pre-motor filter, which you're probably going to need to find a replacement for. This one's almost disintegrated. But anyway, you just left with this small little pre-motor filter. Let me see if I can't get this back one-handed. Alright. I think I got it. Let's set that back. But you also have on this another post-motor filter right up in place by the dusting brush. It looks like it was lazily thrown in there. This can be, this section piece does split forward, well, sort of. So this piece is also replaceable. You should ever decide to get clogged up with a lot of, looks to be carbon deposits from the motor. So let's go ahead and stuff this back in. See how it was jammed in there from the factory? Because not as much canisters back then that had this style motor unit didn't come with these, but all of the wind tunnel style came with this. Whereas the pre-motor filters on the Anniversary, let me see if I can't get to this one. Oh, see right there. It's a little bit of the same design as the pre-motor in the old style, but it's a lot larger. But where it really shines the most with this is a true HEPA sealed HEPA media filter. So this thing has much better filtration than the older wind tunnels. I will admit that. You see if I can get this thing down in place. There we are. So yeah, the newer ones definitely have better air filtration. And also you will notice back here is your speed control. The minus button kind of likes to stick on this one, but there's plus and minus. You have 5 different power settings on this. There is another model of the old style wind tunnel canister that does come with a speed control, but that one is controlled up on the handle. There would have been a variable, like potentiometer style switch that slides forward and back to control the speed of the motor. You would then also have not just a switch for your power brush on off, but also a main override switch for the power of the motor unit. So you can control the power of the motor through the handle, which is much more convenient. But anyway, I think for the time being, I've shown you all the features on both of these vacuums. So for now, let's go ahead and hook their hoses up. And we'll see how their cleaning performance stacks up. Alright, one thing I almost forgot to point out, what's kind of interesting about both these vacuums, is the plug ends. This here is the plug for the Anniversary. As you can see, it looks like your traditional canister vacuum, but the old style has this little notch right here. Like if you were to wrap it up manually and stick it right there, on the cord, which I don't know why Hoover did that when they clearly have a rewind port. I'm guessing this was to cut manufacturing costs down. But they did this in case your older style motor unit were to not come with a rewind cord and you had to rewind it manually, which some motor units that were branded, I think the Futura or the Power Max actually did come like that. But anyway, it's just kind of interesting quirk that I think Hoover didn't think through. But anyway, what I have right here is I'm going to test the hose at the hose end, or the suction at the hose end, just to see how it is. First, we'll go ahead and start off with the old style wind tunnel. Now here's the anniversary. That's how they sound like turned on. And here it is, the suction at the hose end. Both did okay. So anyway, right now let's go ahead and hook the hoses up. Like that. Oh, if you will notice right here, these older style canisters, the one that use the power switch up top here, actually have a 3-wire plug. 2 wires are going for the headlight, and then the third one is the ground for the power brush on off. Which is a fun thing. The headlight will actually run when the motor unit is turned on. That one, the power brush or the headlight won't turn on unless the power brush is turned on. I'll show you right there. See, there it is with the headlight running with the motor unit, and power brush works just as it should. Whoa, I'm sure it doesn't tip over. But now the anniversary, when you turn it on, the headlight to the power brush doesn't turn on unless you turn it on at the hose end. I don't know. Quite an interesting little quirk, I think, that Hoover thought of back then. But anyway, let's go ahead and see how these things pick up. So we'll go ahead and start with the old style wind tunnel. Turn on the power brush. Did leave some behind. style wind tunnel canister. Now we'll go ahead and do the anniversary. Make sure it's on its highest speed. Let's go ahead and turn the power brush on. This one sounds a lot more quiet than the old style wind tunnel. So let's go ahead and show you the agitation. Did leave some behind. Well, let's kind of give you an idea of what these two canisters compare like. You go from old school proven technology since 1990 to new style technology that's a lot more quieter but has the same style power brush as its predecessor. So, I hope you've enjoyed this comparison between these two Hoover wind tunnel canisters. Be sure and stay tuned, and don't forget to like, rate, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.